Well, hello, good morning. All right, so for today, it was interesting. I was going to talk about anger because I thought, oh God, who couldn't talk about anger every day, all day? I mean, it's all over the place, it's out there. I mean, yesterday I go to this like idyllic setting on the North Shore of Long Island, and these people are driving like beautiful, expensive cars, they have beautiful, expensive boats, and there's this altercation of two adult people literally just yelling at each other. So anyway, that's my basis for every day there's a situation that happens that shows me like how people are justified around being angry. But today we're not talking about angry. Excuse me, we're not talking about being angry, or we're not talking about anger. We're going to talk about blame, a little bit of like whose fault is it, a little bit of why you want something or someone else to blame for why you are where you are, right? It's a sense of or I should say it's a lack of a sense of personal responsibility. And so I go to the doctor this morning, right? I'm fit, I'm healthy, I ride my bike there, and I was just getting a routine exam on my titties. So a pleasant experience, by the way, if you haven't had one, guys. So I walk in, and this woman's like asking me those questions: my height, my weight, blood pressure, stuff like that. And I says, do I have a history of this or that? I said, no, nothing like that. And she goes, well, you don't look like it. And I said, yeah, well, I do my best over here, but sometimes you look at people and you just don't really know what's going on inside of them. That's why I don't really necessarily love going to the doctor, because I still think that a doctor's greatest guess isn't about what's happening inside of me, isn't necessarily better than my guess about what's going on inside of me. It's just that they have a name for it and they can help explain my symptoms, but I'm the one living in this body. So I said, well, I mean, I do the best I can with what I have. And she's like, well, you look great. And I said, but there's a lot of things going on in there that I'm not sure what's going on or what could happen. And this woman pipes up over there. She goes, it's all genetics. And I looked at her and I thought to myself, just in the same way the other woman looked at me and had an impression of being healthy or what have you, I looked at this other woman. I thought, that actually makes perfect sense, because she was not very healthy looking. And she's sitting there, and first thing she says is, it's genetics. Like, and what struck me there, again, this is perceptual, but it's like if I could say it's genetics, then I don't have to be responsible for what I look like or what's happening. Like, in other words, if I turn around and my parents are either like unhealthy, they're smokers, they're drinkers, they're obese, or any other form, and then those things also end up happening to me, which, by the way, they did, then I could sit there and say, oh, well, it's genetics. I mean, I can't control it. I mean, I was just born to be this way. And, if you're still talking like that and you're past your mid 20s, Houston, there's a problem. There's because, I don't get to blame my genetics or my history on how I treat my body or how I participate in my life. I mean, it's just that, and quite frankly, if you want to know the truth, a nice long list of what I'm battling to stay healthy: diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, alcoholism, drug addiction. I think the only thing that's not predominant in my family is severe mental illness. So the truth is that as an adult, I got to look at my life piecemeal. I got to look at how I drank. I got to look at how I eat. I got to look at how I conducted my relationships. I got to look at how I handled my emotions. And of course, the way I did those things was how I was taught, whether it was by my parents, by teachers, by education, by the media, by the world around me. And I never really sat and looked at it until I started having problems. Until I started having problems with how I ate and what my body looked like, and until I had started having problems with like the fact that I was smoking a pack and a half of cigarettes a day, which, by the way, my father smoked, and I was around it while growing up. I was around all that kind of stuff growing up. So at a certain point, I had to like stop. Do you remember Susan Pewter? She was like, stop the insanity. She had that wild, like, short hair. Like, stop the insanity, right? We got to stop this insanity of thinking like, well, it's just where I am. It's just, it's genetics. And, oh, well, I mean, I don't, oh, well, or no, or, it's a pandemic. Well, oh, I have this thing, or, oh, I just can't help it, or, oh, I'm an addict, or, blah, 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 blah. You get to have ownership of your life. There's nobody else that gets that role. There's nobody else that gets that honor. Do you see what an unbelievable responsibility and honor it is to be with yourself, to take care of yourself, to love yourself, to know yourself, to just actually be involved in your life? I mean, it's the greatest honor. You will lose this body, and whatever you believe about what happens later, it'll all be like poof, gone. And I hope that you'll be like kicking the bucket and saying, damn, that was good. Right? And if you take care of yourself and take care of your body and you learn some new tricks and stop blaming genetics or this or that or him or her or a pandemic or this or blah, 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 if you stop blaming everything on those things, I'm willing to bet that your life will get a little bit better a day at a time. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me and I hope you have a great day.